Izia was very upset when he found out that Aaron had abandoned his family. How could he yelled. I don't know what I'll do to him when I see him the next time. It's not for you to judge, brother, Anna said. He had his reasons. What reasons? There are no reasons to leave your own kids fatherless. Izia, stop that. You don't know what happened to him. Maybe he tried to do something, and then failed, and is ashamed to come back. Maybe he needs help. Don't judge him, because you never know the reasons. Yes. Of course, too bad the war is over, I would have shot him without thinking twice. Stop that. I don't want to hear any more of it. Anna loved her husband and never blamed him for anything. He'd walked away and never wrote her a letter, though she didn't believe that he could just leave her. She missed him terribly, and her children missed him too. They needed him. Anna worked hard from dawn to dusk, providing for her children, Leah and Boris. She wished they could see her more often than twice a week, when she was able to come home from work a little earlier. If Aaron lived with the family, it would be much easier for her and the children. Anna never heard about Aaron from his relative either, until one day, when a friend told her that Aaron was seen in poverty-stricken clothes in Chernovtsi, on the western Ukraine border. I knew he was in trouble. She thought. I knew he couldn't find the courage to come back to me. I knew he needed me. She took her children and went to Chernovtsi to help him return home. Chernovtsi was not a big city, so Anna hoped to find Aaron relatively fast, and she was not mistaken. She went to the market and showed Aaron's picture to the local shoemakers. I'm looking for my husband, Aaron Benish. Do you know him? Yes, I know the man, but that isn't Aaron Benish. It's Aaron Capel. The man scratched the address on a piece of paper and handed it to Anna. Anna was confused. She took the address and went to face her destiny. Anna, Leah, and Boris went inside the barak's long, dark corridor and looked for the right number. Her heart pounded. Her dear Aaron was there, right behind the door. Now, her life was going to be much better and happier with him. She looked at her children. They had grown and matured so much since the last time he saw them. They looked perfect. She took good care of his children all these long years. He should be satisfied. Leah, do I look all right? How's my hair? Anna asked. You look good, Mama, Leah replied. Anna knocked on the door. She heard light footsteps coming to the door. It opened and a young woman with a little baby in her hands stood in front of Anna. Yes, I'm looking for Aaron Benish. Does he live here? Anna asked, looking above the woman's shoulder, hoping to see him. Yes, he does, and who are you? I'm his wife and these are his children. The young woman's face turned pale. She wanted to say something, but fainted suddenly. Aaron left Anna and went to Chernovtsi, closer to the Romanian border. It was easier to get permission to leave the country in this city, though Aaron was afraid that they wouldn't let him emigrate because he was married with kids. His passport didn't indicate his marital status, but his last name and address were written there, so it was easy to find out. The only way to get rid of these entries in his passport was to get married. He met a girl, Laura Capel, who attracted him with her desire to emigrate to Israel. Laura easily fell in love with him because Aaron inherited his father's irresistible charm. So, they got married almost immediately. Aaron took his new wife's name, received a new passport, and without delay, submitted the immigration application. Everything went smoothly, as he'd planned. In a month, they received permission to leave the country. Their dream was just a couple of miles away. It felt as if they could stretch out their hands and grab it, but when they came to the border crossing station, they weren't allowed to cross the border. The day before, Stalin declared the Iron Curtain, meaning that people were no longer permitted to leave the country. The couple went home, disappointed. They were so close to their dream, and now they found themselves crying over spilled milk. But Aaron didn't want to give up. I escaped from a German encirclement. He yelled angrily, storming around their room. I was chased by dogs. I hid in freezing water. I was next to death. Nobody could catch me. I'll find a way out of this prison. Chernivtsi was located on the bank of Prut River, the border between the Soviet Union and Romania. The river was not very wide, and it was easy to cross it, if only the Soviet army didn't guard it so heavily. Aaron and Laura took a train along the Prut River to a suburban area, away from the city, and bought a small boat there. At night, they carried the boat to the river and pushed it onto the water. It was dark and quiet. It felt as if nobody was around. They jumped inside the boat and paddled across the river to the Romanian side. Suddenly, a spotlight from the Soviet side blinded them. "Stop, or we'll shoot," the patrol yelled. The court sentenced Aaron to 2 years in prison, but they let Laura go, because she was pregnant. 2 years later, Aaron was released from prison. He thought of coming back to Anna and his children. He missed them terribly, but how could he show his face to them? What would he tell them? How would he explain his easy appearance? How would he support them if he had nothing? He was an ex-convict, so nobody would hire him. He was condemned to live a jobless, pitiful life. How would he tell Anna about Laura and her baby? He had so many questions, yet so few answers. How could he have fallen so low from being a hero, a man of honor? Aaron couldn't find the strength to face Anna with his failure. It was much easier to come back to Laura and their son, Levi. In her eyes, he was a hero. Laura lived in the same small room. She struggled, being a single mother for all the time Aaron was imprisoned. She survived by finding occasional jobs, leaving her infant home alone. Laura loved her husband. Yet, she had no idea that she was his second wife, and that her husband was a liar and manipulator. Aaron started to work as a shoemaker in a city market. He made a measly living and led a miserable life. When Anna found him, he and his new family lived in a small room with no furniture, just an old mattress in a corner. Compared to Aaron and Laura, Anna was wealthy. She had a job, a furnished room, and well-fed and dressed children. Anna gave Aaron the opportunity to confess. She loved him and forgave all of his faults, and Aaron moved back with her, leaving Laura and his little boy. Sadly, Aaron was not able to be a part of his family. Boris was already 9 years old and Leah was 14. Aaron was jealous for not being a part of their lives while they grew up, and tried to make it up to them. He introduced new rules that were irritating and not necessary. The children were not used to his restrictions and refused to obey, so Aaron would beat them. They were so much happier without him because Anna never punished them. The children had missed their father so much and wanted him to be a part of their life, but sudden adverse changes didn't make them happy, and instead, made them hate him even more. Aaron was also unhappy with his mother-in-law, who never missed a chance to blame him for all his faults, making his miserable life even worse. He did not fit in with his family and couldn't take it for too long. After a couple of months, he left, breaking Anna's heart once again, and returned back to Laura. Anna used to take care of her children by herself. She loved having him around, but it was easier without him. After he left, her life came back to its original state, yet the pain in her heart had never left. Laura didn't refuse her husband, but life was not the same anymore. Her heart was broken, and she was not able to recover from the harm Aaron caused. Aaron had 2 families, yet he was lonely. He loved all his children and dreamed that one day they'd all be friends, but he knew that this would never happen. None of his dreams came true, and he didn't see this one being any different from the rest.